Mm, 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 mm.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you, Brent, and it's so good to see all of you. Glad you checked in tonight. Why don't we get started, Brent, by, well, let's just find out where people are from. So if you want to chime in, folks, tell us where you're from, and we'll recognize you. So right off the bat, I'm seeing, well, we got somebody. Wow, it's moving so quick. What do we got
We got
here?
a few already.
We got Val. She's in Florida. Way to go. We're in Florida. Are you,
Neighbors over
Val?
here.
Who else do we have?
We got Wisconsin. We got Maine. We have Southwest Virginia.
There we go. We've got, you said Michigan. Dawn. Dawn, how you doing? Glad you could stop in, Dawn. And you said Wisconsin. I got to tell you, Diz, is that right? Diz?
She's a follower of you and myself.
She's always here. She's always, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Now we got somebody from Connecticut. Oh man, did I spend a lot of time in Connecticut, Brent. Connecticut? Vincent, so good to see you. What do we got here? Waves? Oh, somebody, oh, you just wave it. Okay, all right. Florida again, Miami. Nice to, I just keep clicking on the same person.
There's a Maine. There we go.
Maine, that's right. It's starting to warm up. My guess is in Maine. It's starting to warm up a little bit. We got somebody, let's see here.
Got the ATL in the house.
We got Georgia. Who else do we have? Keith from North Carolina. Baby Boomer from Atlanta.
All over the place. Love
it. Victoria, Pittsburgh. Are you a Steelers fan? I don't know. Southern Ohio. Let's just give a few shout outs to a few more people. Southern Ohio, Maureen.
Got an Arizona.
Okay. And last but not least, a shout out to Canada. If there are any other people, maybe we'll, let me just go through this real quick. See that, who did I miss?
Oh, we got Texas.
Where's Texas? I don't see it.
Right there.
Okay. Austin. Austin is a funky little town, man. I love Austin. Have you been there?
No, not yet, but I'd love to go.
Man, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
New Mexico. We got George in Pennsylvania, and we'll do one more. You do the honors, Brent.
Well, we got to get South Africa since, geez, that's so far away.
Okay, South Africa, UK. And folks, if we skipped you, sorry about that. How's that? Let's move on to a little bit of house cleaning here. I just want to say this. I want to congratulate my buddy Brent because he's a new father to a little boy, Luca. Luca was just born. In fact, last time we did a live stream, Brent couldn't make it because, well, his wife had just given birth to their son, Luca. So man, congratulations.
I was literally in the hospital while watching the feed go off. I'm like, okay, well, at least I know there's a good reason why I can't make it today. But it was very special, beautiful, healthy baby boy. He is a tank. He's already half the size of his older sister, and he's only 3 months old. And my daughter Isla is 2.5. So he's going to be a tank apparently, but absolutely love it. Definitely looking forward to full night's rest eventually, but we'll get there.
Well, that's part of parenthood, man. That's just the way it is, right? That's just the way it is. Let's also talk about the happy hour special. Now, if you're new to the live stream, folks, we always like to try to give something away at the end of the live stream and to be included in the random poll, because Brent does it all. He pulls somebody randomly from the comments. So if you don't have a question to ask, at least this would be a good time to, say where you're from. So at least you're in the comment section, because that's where Brent's going to pull a name. So we pull at the end of the live stream, but you've got to be present. You've got to be present to claim the prize. Brent, What is the happy hour special today?
Well, we want to do something fun, especially with the fact that we're getting a little bit nicer weather now. We're getting into those, beautiful times, at least hopefully in the Pacific Northwest. We still have plenty of rain, but I have seen more and more sunshine, which I am pleasantly surprised with. So we wanted to make sure that people were getting prepared to actually cook outside, which is why we're giving away a very nice barbecue set tool-wise, as well as a sear gun. There's a propane sear gun that we're going to give away as well that can either sear your meat or as a charcoal starter. It's going to be a fun little tool for anyone who wins it. But in order to win, you just need to make sure that one, you're here in the live stream when we give it away at the very end, and two, make sure that you comment in the comment section on the side as as the live stream is going forth. That's all you have to do.
That's where you're going to pull the names. And is it two winners or just one person gets both prizes?
That's a good question. Which way would you like to do it?
I say one person get both things.
Okay.
That's a nice combo. I think that's a nice combo. Okay, folks, I want to say that if you have a question, a project that you're working on, you need a little help or something that's just got you scratching your head, this is the place you want to be, because Brent and I are here to help out in any way we can. If you have a question, what you need to do is you need to place it in the comments with a hashtag prior to your question so we can distinguish questions from just, talk in the room, or if you're just interested in entering the giveaway. The other thing I want to say is you can ask questions about projects you're working on, but maybe you have a personal question you may want to ask Brent. And I would encourage you to do that. Okay, so we take personal questions, and we also take questions about projects you're working on. Again, just hashtag it, and we'll be able to distinguish questions from just talk in the room. Now, earlier today, Brent, I did have a question regarding how to keep tools. This person was from Florida, and they wanted to know how they could go about keeping their tools from rusting. I can tell you what I do, and that is, you know what? Lately, I've just been in love with Mother's paste wax. Have you ever used it?
I've used Mother's, but not their paste wax for rusting. That's for sure.
It's really, really great on tools, and it makes your tools smell really good too. So that's the latest thing that I've been using is the Mother's wax. So if you want to keep your tools nice and prevent them from rusting, if you're in an area where there's a lot of humidity, especially in Florida, there's lots of humidity here. There's humidity in Seattle. That is what you want to do. So let's go to the, let's see if we've got any questions here that need to be answered. I'm scrolling through. Let me see what I can find.
You want me to pick one out?
Pick one, buddy. If you see one, pick one.
We got this one. Have you used Total Boat epoxy for countertops? Very good question. And yes, I have. There's a number of different products that I've used through Total Boat. It's a great product, that, in my personal opinion, and especially for thin epoxy pours like that. There's a specific tabletop epoxy finish that they produce, and it is a little bit more has a little bit more viscosity to it, but it really applies very nicely and very smoothly when it hardens, which is why it's specifically designed for countertops or tabletops, and it's very durable. If you're trying to find a countertop that's specific, or a countertop epoxy that's specifically designed for a kitchen where there's a lot of hot items, potentially like a hot pan that goes on top, you do want to use a specifically designed epoxy for high heat. And I don't believe that Total Boat produces that, but I can check and see. Inevitably, there is one company. I did kitchen epoxy countertops, which turned out absolutely gorgeous. I'm trying to remember exactly which one I used, but I'll take a look right now. Do you have any thoughts on the matter there, Leah, while I'm looking?
You're the one that turned me on to Total Boat. I loved it, and I used it to make a bird feeder. What? No, wait a second. It was a birdhouse. I poured the the epoxy that you could pour thick, and
Yep.
I submerged branches and flowers and all like that in it. And then I had a slab of hardened epoxy that I cut on the table saw, pieced it together, and it was beautiful. Loved it. I love their products.
Yeah, I love
So
Total Boat, and I just looked it up. So Stone Coat countertop products, they were the ones that I used for high heat epoxy because I wanted to make sure that we had a specific epoxy designated for high heat elements in a kitchen. So just know that I don't know if Total Boat has one. At the time they didn't when I was purchasing, but they might have it now.
Stone Coat countertops,
Yep.
those are good guys. They're good people. I went down to Oregon and met them.
Oh, really? No way.
Yeah, just really, really terrific people. And he's killing it. He's killing it on YouTube, and his product is killing it as well.
Yeah, they do amazing work on their YouTube channel for sure.
Folks, if you just joined the live stream, we're taking questions of projects you may be working on. I just would ask you to do a hashtag before your question. That way we can distinguish questions from just talking the room. If you're not interested in asking a question, but you want to take part in the happy hour special, because we give something away every happy hour that we do, every happy hour live stream that we do. And this live stream is going to be a barbecue set and torch, but you have to comment or just say something. Just say, hi, Brent, hi, Leah, and that'll enter you in the contest. We'll do a random pull at the end of the live stream, or you can just say where you're from.
There you go. How about the next question?
What are your favorite battery powered tools? I got to tell you, that's changing. Here's the thing. I have not been a big fan of Milwaukee tools. I have not been a big fan of Milwaukee tools, but lately,
No way.
I love how you can interchange their batteries with so many of their products, not just, their power tools that, hand tools that you would use, but even garden tools. They're doing garden tools as well.
Well, the one item that I purchased recently, and it was a Milwaukee, and it was expensive because it was a Milwaukee, but I recently purchased a nail gun, and this specifically was a finish nailer that was battery operated, and I just absolutely love that finish nailer as a battery operated tool, just because of the fact that I don't have to get the large air compressor out. I don't need to get multiple things, hoses and so forth, to try and use a finish nailer, which is so simple and so straightforward. And all you need is a couple small little nails, and a simple battery operated tool like that definitely saved me a lot of headache in the long run, especially when it's considering like trying to bring all these items with you for a small nailing project potentially.
Hey, listen, let me ask you this, because Milwaukee, that's a commercial tool. It's really for contractors. And what battery powered tools would you recommend for DIYers?
It all kind of depends on on your color selection, in all honesty. Which colors do you like the most? There's so many out there, and everyone has their own different stuff. I mean, the beautiful thing about these day and age is that there's so many options, and they're all competitors. So they're trying to make sure you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. So if you're looking for drills and so forth, you don't have to go with a Milwaukee or the DeWalt's or the Makitas. You can go with a Ryobi. And Ryobi does, you're not going to find at a job site, construction job site, but it's still a very high quality tool for the average DIYer out there.
Well, this is a good segue, and that is, someone's asking, Leah, when does the series start on the house? And I want to tell you, Brent, that I had a visitor come down, Design to the Nines, Natalie. You met Natalie.
Of course.
So she lives in Florida here. She lives maybe an hour away. She drove down. Now, Natalie is an interior designer, but she has her own tool line. She's getting ready to introduce a drill to
That's right.
her audience. So, I want you to check her out, folks. Her YouTube channel is called Design to the Nines, and I got to tell you, I've seen the prototype, and it's really, really a nice drill. Now, somebody wants to know here, Danny G wants to know, Leah, when does the series start on the house? Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of moving parts here. For one thing, I needed to clean the house up really nicely. So I went out and I purchased one of the best pressure washers I could, because I had to pressure wash everything. And you know that I've had to change the locks on the house and on the shop, and I had to wait for the equipment to be delivered. So I did, like I said, I had Natalie come down from Design to the Nines. She's an interior decorator. She spent all day here, and we filmed that, and that'll be coming out in the next week, along with a few other videos. But it's just taken a little bit of time to figure out what are things that are worth sharing. There are some things that
I don't think we've had a live stream since you purchased the house. So we really have to celebrate the fact that you recently purchased a house that you're going to fix up and showcase on your entire platform. That's pretty exciting.
It is exciting, but you know what? I asked Natalie when she came, I said, Natalie, now on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really, really, really awful, how awful would you say this house is? And she laughed and she said, I got to give it an 8, Leah. So it's pretty awful, man. I tore out one of the sliding glass doors today, and I'm going to frame that in. And
well, luckily you have a second.
Taking that one out too. So I'm doing a lot, and the videos I'm going to start uploading the videos next week. Okay. So there'll be shorts and there'll be long content as well. So that's coming. Plus I've been working on the pool because I'm trying to get ready for the heat. I think you've got something here, Brent. Brent, what are you going to?
Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, Drew, thanks for calling me out there. Look at that nice little boob light right there. Well, if you are wondering why my background has changed, it's because the fact that my upstairs office has now turned into my daughter's bedroom, and our son, or at least he's going to be moving into my daughter's bedroom, or her first bedroom, and I had to move downstairs my office. So I got a new little room. We're not fully set up yet, but maybe we'll have to do some unique lighting that's not so this.
All right, next question comes from Betty. She wants to know, should I waterproof the ceiling before applying mud? Well, Betty, I would ask you why you feel you need to waterproof it. Are you in a bathroom?
She's specifically more along the lines is talking about priming it.
Should I waterproof the ceiling before applying mud?
Yeah, well, let's try and get a little bit more information about that. If you're referring to more of a prime, then yeah, you do want to prime, especially if it's a dry, just pure drywall before actually applying mud to it. But actually, no, excuse me, I'm thinking about paint. So you wouldn't have to do that before applying mud. You just apply it directly to the drywall. So there's a little more information we're going to need about that one.
Yeah, if you could just tell us a little more, we'll circle back, okay, Betty? All right. Let's see what we have here. What tools would you use to make a fall live edge shelf? That's an ideal question for you, Brent, because you were heavy into that for a while.
Yeah, the faux live edge is interesting to me because normally most of the things that I do, if I'm using a live edge, I'm using a real live edge. But I see what he's saying as far as you can't get an actual live edge, so how can you make a faux live edge? And what I have loved to use, especially for shaping, because the unique element of a faux live edge is that natural kind of bend and shape on the front. And there's discs that you can purchase. Let me just find it real quick because there are grinding discs. what are they called?
I know the company you're talking about too.
It's a carving grinding disc. I'm just trying to make sure I know the exact name for it. Carving. And I mean, there's multiple ones out there to choose from, but there are specific carving grinding discs that you can purchase and put right on your grinder. And they are a little bit, they're not too dangerous because it's not a blade. It has very strong indentations on the blade or on the disc itself. And if you put it on your grinder and grind down that wood, it shapes wood extremely quickly, and it's really nice because there's different grits to it as well. So you might be able to use like one that's 80 grit, but you can also use a fine tooth grit too after that. So you're not having to sand a tremendous amount after you use the fine grit.
Okay, folks. Hey, listen, as a reminder, everybody, can you hashtag before question because it makes it easier for us to find you in the comments. And if you're just joining the live stream, I want to encourage people to comment or at least say hi or where you're from, because that's going to enter you into the giveaway at the end of the live stream, because, you know, we always have our happy hour special. And this happy hour special is a barbecue tool set and a torch. So Jarrett wants to know, looking back, would either of you have a particular project or area of work that would you feel taught you the most, or learning from it helped you out in many other areas? That's an excellent question.
That is a good question. I haven't heard that one before. That's a good one.
And I'm thinking about it.
So I would say, for example, when I did my first kitchen remodel, that was a big one for me because there's so many elements that go into a kitchen. So when I purchased my home back in 2010, that was one of the first things I did was literally gut the entire kitchen. And so you're talking about not only tile, you're talking about drywall repair, you're talking about how to install cabinetry, you're talking about how to realign lights and electrical components because you have to put in proper outlets. And then you're also talking about plumbing because new plumbing potentially is going to be installed. And those are all items that I hadn't done in theory as far as everything all at once. And that really taught me quite a bit about a full large scale home remodel project and what you can and can't get away with.
I'll tell you what, to answer your question, Jared, I remember I purchased, it was a Victorian house, turn of the century, and the plumbing had frozen. And the person that I had purchased the home from, well, didn't share that information. So when I turned the water on, there were leaks everywhere. There was water coming out of the ceiling. There was water coming out of the bathroom walls. I never saw so much water in my entire life. It was like Niagara Falls. I learned a lot on that job because it damaged so much. Like, you know, there was just so much that I had to repair after fixing the plumbing. So that's what I would say. I would say that particular house, oh my goodness, it was a nightmare, but I sure did learn a lot. I learned a great deal, what to do, what not to do, what products to use, what products not to use. It was a real learning experience. That was many, many years ago. Must have been 30 years ago. Giving away my age. I should have mentioned that. Okay, let's see what else we have. Folks, if you've got a question for Brent or I, it can be of a project you're working on, you may need a little help with, or you may have a personal question you may want to ask. Did you just put that up, Brent?
No, yeah, I did, but I think we're on
Okay.
the same page.
I'm sorry?
Yes, I did, but I think we're on the same page.
Okay. Victoria wants to know, how can I fill a hole in aluminum siding? It is close to ground level. Well, I'd like to know how large the hole is. If it's just a small hole, they've got this great product that came out called AlumaWeld. And since it's aluminum, you could probably easily fill it with a propane torch and AlumaWeld. But if it's a larger hole, you may just have to replace the panel. And that's not that difficult to do. Brent?
I'm thinking about a product, and I don't know if it can be used in metal, but I've used a product called Abacrete, and I know for certain that they have products that can be used on wood as well as concrete. And I'd have to take a look and see if it can be used on metal. I bet you still could, even if it's not specifically designed for it. It's amazing, like especially the Abacrete wood filler, where it's just like a 2-part putty epoxy mix, and you basically mix it together with your hands and you press it into the hole, and it completely hardens within an hour or so, and then you can literally sand it smooth, which I absolutely love. So that would be another good option if it could be used on metal. So I just double checked that. It's called Abacrete.
Okay, you've got 3 options there. I just want to say thanks, Carmen. Carmen just made a comment, and I just want to say, hey, Carmen, I read your comment. Thank you. Moving right on. This is an interesting question from Patty, and it's what's the best way to clean the dust post rehab? Well, I would say this, Patty. One of the things that you could do is just to cut down on the dust as much as you possibly can prior to, doing a gut job on a house. That dust, man, especially if you're
I
doing
got a good answer. I
drywall.
got a good answer for Patty.
You have dust down the street on a rehab. It could be a lot of work. But you know what I've done? Let me just say a couple of things. Prior to doing a rehab, prior to doing a gutting a room or an entire unit, I always cover the vents, because the air conditioning and the heat will blow it all over the house. You want to cover up all the vents of the house. And if you can, there's a product out that allows you to tint rooms as you go. So that's another approach that you can take prior to, doing any kind of rehab. But Brent's got an answer for you, and I can't wait to hear it.
Well, this obviously, one, you need to make sure it's electric, and 2, hopefully have some large openings like a garage door or a large French door. Because if I have an area that's very dusty that I want to just get clean right away, which is what I use in my garage when it gets to that point, is literally open up the doors and I just take an electric leaf blower and just blow all that dust out. And you're not going to get every single speck of it, but you can get a very large majority of the dust out of an area in a very short amount of time. I would just highly recommend using some eye protection as well as a respirator while you're doing it.
I see a question here come up from Dawn. She's asked us a few times, and she's asking about the giveaway. And so maybe I thought maybe you need to explain it a little bit, Brent, the giveaway, because she's asked a couple times.
Yeah, no, Dawn, just know that we are doing a barbecue giveaway as far as barbecue tools and a sear torch at the tail end. And so you're already eligible to win because you've commented in our comment section. So that's all you have to do, as well as be here when we do the giveaway in another half an hour or so, and you might be able to win. So all you need to do is comment, which is what you did, and be here at the tail end of our live stream.
Van Stray's got an excellent question, and he's looking to do a kitchen renovation. What's the best way to start without breaking the budget? Well, I would say the first thing to do is have a budget. You have to really know what you want to spend, because you could go down a rabbit hole with a kitchen. You could spend a lot of money, or you could spend a modest amount. So what I would say to you is, I would say figure out what your budget is first, and then start putting your wish list together. I wouldn't do it the other way around. I wouldn't start with a wish list and then come up with a budget, because then you'd be apt to go over it. Because there's so much eye candy out there, Brent.
It's
So
a very good point of like making sure you have a proper budget, and also realize that you can do a full kitchen remodel in a very budgetary fashion. There's, I mean, especially in my area, kitchen remodels go easily from 30 to $50,000, and it's just astonishing to me that people actually spend that type of money on a contractor doing a home remodeling project, because you can e- easily get away with a full kitchen remodel within 10 grand. Uh,
that's what I'm trying to teach.
yeah,
And I
very
agree
achievable.
100% with what Brent is saying. And that's what I hope to show in the, I bought the ugliest house I could find video series. Okay. So that'll be coming up.
I would just like keep in mind of just like trying to note exactly like your high ticket items that you're going to have, and those appliances, the cabinets, the countertops, the tile.
The
Those are all,
cabinets.
yeah, those are all items that just try and figure out exactly where your price point is at there, and then you're going to have thousands of, or at least hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars of miscellaneous material items that also are included with a
That
remodeling project like that.
you just don't think about. Yeah. Christina wants to know how to adjust door hinge, door slam shut. And my guess is you gotta adjust the knuckles on the hinges. That's what it is. And you know what? They make a tool that's a knuckle adjuster. And that's all. It's a real simple fix. I have a video online that shows you how to do that. So that's my suggestion to you. Again, it's real easy. It's an easy fix. You just have to adjust the knuckles.
Easy as that.
Okay. What tub surround material would you use to cover tile?
What tub surround material would you use to cover tile? What does he mean? Yeah, what do they mean by covering tile?
My guess is they don't want to tear it out, for whatever reason. And to be honest with you, I cannot remember why, okay, but I did cover tile up using drywall. And it escapes me what the reason was. It was an older home. I remember that. And did I do that? I made it, maybe, you know what? I'm sorry. My memory fails me. I don't believe I ever did that.
I was gonna say, I was like,
Now that I think about it,
drywall over tile? Excuse me?
no, I never did that. What the heck am I thinking? Oh, I was thinking about something else. Sorry. What's the best material to cover? I'm
Well,
not
let's
certain
try
I
and get a little bit
would.
more information about the questions. So if PS, if you can give us a little bit more information about what you're talking about in reference to, please let us know. We can get a more detailed answer for you.
Okay.
Here's since this came up earlier, I might as well address it. So with that epoxy countertop edge, so it is tricky with the edge specifically because it, of course, is dripping constantly down, and you want to make sure you have a consistent finish. And so what I had to do, and I have multiple videos on it on my channel, where I floated the entire countertop with epoxy and then used a heat gun and a blowtorch to kind of gradually maneuver the epoxy in a more orderly, even fashion. And then as the epoxy is dripping down, it creates that epoxy edge. The problem is that you need to make sure that you're there to wipe off the excess of epoxy, especially the drips. And that could potentially take hours to do. So keep that in mind on your epoxy projects, because if you want a nice, clean, finished edge the very first time, you potentially might be there for hours just trying to wipe down those drips gradually.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Folks, I want to encourage people to put a hashtag in front of their questions, because it makes it very difficult for us to find the questions in the comments, because it just looks like people talking in the room. So if you're just joining the live stream, make certain that you place a hashtag before, so we don't miss your question, because we want to make certain we answer them all. So somebody's making an art studio in the basement. Lou is and wants to know, what do you recommend for flooring? I'm looking at vinyl plank. Do I need anything underneath it? Well, vinyl plank is an excellent choice, and you probably do want to place. They have systems that you place the vinyl plank, the vinyl luxury planking on.
Well,
But
this is
Brent just did something. Brent just did a room, so he could tell you all about it.
it's actually a perfect question because literally I just did a kitchen remodel that involved vinyl plank, and I also put an underlayment on it. And I did have a sponsorship for that video, which was MP Global, and they produce Quiet Walk. And they have a product that's specifically designed for luxury vinyl plank, and that's important because uh, some vinyl plank manufacturers actually void the warranty of their flooring if you put down an underlayment, and that's because it becomes too soft potentially, and then it will crack the seam of your vinyl plank as you walk on it because it's too soft. But MP Global fixed that problem because they have one that's specifically designed for luxury vinyl plank, even if that plank has a pad already built into it, which most products do these days. So keep that in mind on your installations, and that they do also note in their product line that it helps with sound deadening.
Okay. Tilton family, pillow window door roller replacement knowledge. Well, they pop out of the bottom. If you're talking about a patio door, and I'm going to assume that you are, you have to take the door out of the frame, lay it flat, and believe it or not, they're really easy to remove. You just have a couple screws there. The problem will be the replacement. Sometimes you can find them easily. And then sometimes, depending upon how old the patio door is, you may not be able to find a replacement. But we're talking about Pella here. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be a lot easier for you to find replacement rollers for your patio door. So just know that it's an easy process. In fact, you know what? I did a video, now that I think about it. I did a CJ Drill video showing you how to replace those rollers. So just look it up on the CJ Drill YouTube channel or the CJ Drill website.
Tanya, this is a perfect question because I actually have a perfect answer for this. So this is when putting shiplap on ceilings, do ends always have to be secured on studs? They are going directions on studs going in opposite directions. So if the situation is you're putting on a panel on a wall and you can't hit a stud on both sides, so it's going to be flexing, it's not going to have proper adhesion. So what I do for this situation is that I take an adhesive like a liquid nails, and I also take a hot glue gun or potentially silicone. So you have to have a hot glue gun, and then you also have to have either silicone or liquid nails. And you apply the silicone and liquid nails first for proper adhesion. But in order to make sure that that adhesion to the ceiling is fixated on the ceiling instantaneously, and you don't have to, you don't have to figure out how to hold it in position while that other stuff cures, you use hot glue. And hot glue will seal it to the ceiling instantaneously, but it also will allow it for the silicone or adhesive to dry properly, which will really give you a proper hold.
That's an excellent, excellent idea, Brent.
Yeah. I've had that
Okay.
issue numerous times on multiple accent walls, and that one has always saved my bacon.
Okay. All right. And it's a real trendy thing to do right now with the mid-century moderns to put shiplap on the ceilings. Okay, she has a question. I'm scraping paint off my room. I have seen your texture videos. Can I just texture over the mess? Will it cover up the ugly walls? I'm scraping paint off my room. I have seen so you've got paint and the wall is uneven now because you've scraped some of the paint down with probably the plaster, and you're wondering whether or not the texture will hide it. Well, what I will say is it all depends, and it depends on what kind of texture you select. If you go with a light texture, I doubt if it's going to hide it. It's probably going to stand out. But if you go with a more aggressive texture, like a skip trowel texture, that stuff hides everything. So yeah, you could use a texture, and it will definitely hide a lot of blemishes, a lot of imperfections, just a lot of ugliness. But you have to pick something aggressive if it's heavy or you have a lot of damage. And so that's my suggestion to you, Veronica.
I like it. This is a good one. Do you use a battery solar station on the job? Leah, has this ever come up to you as far as needing a generator or solar station? I believe it has.
I've used generators many, 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 many times, but I've never used a solar station.
I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about like a electric generator, or that can also be powered via solar.
Solar panel. Yeah, those are kind of pricey though.
Yep, they are for sure. But I personally have not used them, but I have been talking to a couple of brands recently that produce the same exact thing, and they're perfect for job sites, and especially in remote areas where you don't always have electrical components to it. But I have had a job site where I was on site and the power completely went out on me, and I couldn't do. I literally had half day of no work because the power went out. So after that moment, I was like, okay, I have to get a generator at some point so I can guarantee that it won't happen again.
Or an inverter. I mean, you know what? I worked on that flip in Cleveland for 6, 7 months. And for 3 months, I had no electricity, and I relied solely upon an inverter to, power my tools. And it all worked out really well.
Yep.
Let's see here. Folks, I just want to mention this. We have about 20 minutes left on the live stream, okay? And what I want to tell you is there's going to be a giveaway at the end of the live stream. We do it every time we do a live stream, a happy hour live stream. It's called the happy hour special. And so to get in on that, Brent is going to do a random pull of one name, but you've got to be here to win. If he pulls your name and you're not here at the end of the live stream, then he's going to pull another name. So you want to be involved in that. To get into that, you're going to have to place a comment in the comments, or you can just say hi or say where you're from. That's all you need to do. Just say something in the comments. Folks, if you have a question to ask Brent or myself about a home improvement project you're working on, I would encourage you to hashtag your question so that we can see it and distinguish between people that are just entering the contest or people just saying hi or just talking amongst themselves.
And Leah, this is not a question, but it has been broached a couple times in the chat. I mean, we got to get Leah to 1 million people. I mean, we're so close.
Oh, Brent, that is so nice of you. I'm working on it, right?
Let's go. Get it.
I want to. You know what? Yeah, I'm working on it, folks. I'm hoping in the next couple of months I get there. Now I have someone. Where did that go? It was a question. Somebody
in regards to.
It had to do with wiring, and it was a. Didn't you see that, Brent?
There's a lot of questions. I'm not sure.
No. It wasn't a question. It was somebody that did a donation.
Oh, yeah, I did. I think I did see a donation. I don't know who it was though.
But how do I pull that back up? I'm sorry, folks. I don't know everything there is to know about StreamYard.
I think it automatically it's automatically on. I don't think
Nefertiti or something like that. That was the name. They had a question.
Oh, did they have a question as well?
There was a question attached to it, and now it's just disappeared.
Oh, well.
So can I encourage you to ask the question in the comment section, and I'll make certain that I get to it? How's that? Okay. It had something to do with rewiring a house, but I didn't get finished with reading the question before it disappeared. That was so weird. Okay. So folks, we're going to take a few more questions, and then we're going to pull a name, see who's won the big prize.
Got a question on your mind?
Oh, this is a funny one. And here's the thing. There's no hashtag, but I saw it and I just I had to bring it up, Freddie. This is pretty funny. Have you ever gotten in the middle of a project and had to back down and call an expert to bail you out? I will honestly tell you, no, that has never ever happened to me. But I had to show it because I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, where you get in deeper than you'd like, or you think you could do something, and then you get to doing it and you realize, well, wait a second. There's more to it than, no. I'm very, very, I wouldn't take on a job that I couldn't do. I just wouldn't. Brent, you're not saying anything.
I don't believe I ever have taken on a project and then just said it's not for me. Yeah, I'm very good at problem solving, and I've been in points on projects where I was so confused and irate over how something had gone, but I figured out a way to deal with it, and that's the beauty of construction. You have to be a problem solver and figuring out how to get around a situation, especially when doing home remodels, because you never know what you're going to find sometimes when you start opening up a wall or a door and you don't expect something, and all of a sudden you have to deal with a mess. And I've been in those situations where I had no idea how to fix it at the time. Then I did my research and then I fixed it.
That's a great answer, Britt. You're absolutely so right about that. You have to be a problem solver. You just have to. Okay, so how can I upgrade Formica cabinets? My dad made the boxes out of 3/4 plywood, still in good shape. I imagine they are. He passed away in 2019. Also, sorry, Bonnie. I'm sorry for your loss. And I want to keep the heritage. I understand. Well, you could resurface them with new laminate if you wanted to do that, or you, believe it or not, you can paint them. And they make a special paint just for Formica. And I would encourage you to check that out. So those are your two options. You can paint them, but you have to use a special primer on Formica and a special paint. So you can paint them, or you can just relaminate them. Either way, you've got 3/4 plywood, and that's a great base. So I understand why you're trying to keep them.
There you go. I got one for you. What is the difficulty level of replacing 1980s windows? Can't afford install costs on top of new windows and need them desperately. I have for sure taken on and replaced numerous windows on my own home and as well as on other people's home. And in all honesty, it's not something that's super difficult. I'd say a more intermediate, and I would for sure do plenty of research prior. I don't know what you have on there now. Originally, what I had to deal with was aluminum sided windows, single pane, and I had to remove every single one of those windows off my house and replace it with a double pane vinyl product. And the process is pretty straightforward as far as the install goes, but it's just more about making sure that you're properly waterproofing as you go and making sure that you do your due diligence of research prior to doing it. But you can for sure take it on as a homeowner.
And I think you have a video, don't you, Brent?
I do. I do. A full tutorial on how to replace old windows.
It's an excellent video, by the way. So I encourage you to check out his video.
Yeah, I did it was a couple years back, but it is for sure a very detail-oriented video on how to replace it.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a few more. We've got this one here. This is kind of an interesting question. Which big box store do you prefer nowadays? Lowe's, Home Depot, Maynard's? And online store do you use most? eBay, Amazon, Ace Hardware.
That was a good one.
I use Amazon a lot, I have to tell you. I do because sometimes I don't have time to go to stores and look around. I'll burn a half a day at Home Depot or Lowe's or a hardware store. A lot of yeah. I like Amazon because I can always find what I want on Amazon. But if I need lumber, you see, you can't get that on Amazon. So I'll go to a lumber yard to get the lumber that I need. If I have to go to a big box store, it's interesting because I don't prefer Lowe's over Home Depot or Home Depot over Lowe's. I just kind of go to where's closest. How about you,
Yeah.
Brent?
I for sure go to Home Depot way more often than I go to Lowe's, and that's mainly because Home Depot is the closest one to me. And so that has always been my go-to. The Lowe's, I tend to find better options for finishes like tile and hardware, or kitchen hardware and so forth. But Home Depot, I feel, is always a better selection for just general construction purposes. And then Amazon, I use all the time, especially as a content creator, because I provide links to every single tool material that you see in a video. So I'm always doing that. So I'm getting affiliate marketing through that, but I also want to make it's extremely easy for anyone to purchase what they need for a project, which is why I absolutely love it.
You know what? I agree with you, and I do the same thing, Brent. I'm glad you brought that up about when you do a project and you upload a video, you always want to make certain that you put the materials that you use and the tools that you used in the description so that people can easily find that stuff. I got to ask you a dangerous question here. This is kind of dangerous. Do you ever go to Harbor Freight?
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
not very often, but I definitely have gone to Harbor Freight a few different times for sure.
Okay, a lot of content creators, they don't like to admit to that. They don't like to admit that they shop at Harbor Freight. That's
Well,
why I
in
threw
all
that out,
honesty, to
man.
Harbor Freight's credit, there's plenty of items that they carry that you'll not find at your normal Home Depot. Like there's numerous things that you can easily find at Harbor Freight that you would never be able to find stocked at Home Depot. There's some unique items that I've purchased specifically.
Okay, all right. We'll take just a few more, folks, and then we'll get to the random poll. W.D. Callahan, what's the story behind the CJ and Drill logo? I've been wondering for a long time. It's just really bad art. It's just that simple. It's supposed to be an eyeball looking CJ and Drill. It's supposed to be an eyeball looking on. I know it's really, really bad, but you asked, so there you go.
Well, the real question is, have you ever thought about doing a full revamp of
I have,
CJ Drill logo?
but so many people know that little yellow eyeball or Pac-Man. People think it's a Pac-Man, that I don't have the heart to change it. If I changed it, then I wouldn't have people writing, what the heck is behind that logo? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Carmen's installing drywall panels cut to fit between rafters, need a 1/4-inch round molding as trim for gaps, which are best wood, MDF, or other types. I don't know. Nowadays there's so many options out there. It's not even about wood anymore. It really does just boil down to what you feel comfortable using. I mean, they even have foam molding, okay, that you can use. I do like MDF because it's perfect.
That is
but
nice.
You know what?
Yeah, I would love to go with wood, but wood varies so significantly, especially at a general hardware store. You're not going to get perfect molding trim like that.
It's not going to be perfect. MDF is always perfect, but you know what? It does dull your tools. That's the thing about MDF. It really, really dulls blades very, very quickly, and the dust is really nasty. So that's why I say it's really a personal decision. So that's how I see it.
If it's exterior, don't use MDF, but if it's interior, MDF.
Okay, let's take one more, and then we'll get to the drawing. How
Well, real
about that?
quickly, why don't we just, because I've seen this question numerous times for you, Leah. So why don't
Okay.
we answer this one first and we can do a last question.
I didn't even see that question.
I've seen it. I saw it come up a couple different times. So I think we have to address
Really?
it.
Well, here's the thing, Dawn. I really hate this house. I was going to make this my home, Brent. I was going to make this my home because it had all the elements I wanted. I wanted a lot of land because the house sits on half an acre. There's a swimming pool with a cage, lots of fenced in room for my dog, and it's got a huge shop on the premises. The shop is fairly large. It's much larger than my last shop. And then it has an office right above the shop. And then 3 full bathrooms, and 3 full bedrooms. But it's so ugly.
Yeah, you might need BYOT to come down for you.
No, here's the thing. I know that I'm going to transform this house and it's going to be wonderful. But what I've realized is I'm too far away from my family. And that's bothering me. Because I used to be an hour away from my brother and his wife and my mother.
Now, how far?
Now it's like 2.5, 3 hours away. And
That
that's
makes a difference.
just too far. And I realized it because every morning I go down to the water. I like to go to the beach and sit for a while and just think before I start my day. And one particular day I went down to the beach. Now, I did not know this, folks. Okay, this is new to me, all right? In Florida, a car battery only lasts a couple years. And I had recently replaced I thought recently, a couple years ago, I replaced the battery in my van and I went down to the beach to sit. And the beach was called Hidden Beach. Okay, so I'm sitting and it's time for me to go home. I try to start the car and it doesn't start. Somebody's chimed in. Excuse me for a second, folks. This was the question. How much does it cost to rewire 1100 and we'll get to that question. Okay.
Oh, so was this the one that you were talking about?
Yes, we'll get to this question before we go 4-bedroom home because I can tell you. So I'm sitting at the beach. I go to start my car and it is dead. Now, by now, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. At 11 o'clock in the morning in Florida, it's like 85 already. So I can't turn on the air conditioning. So I called AAA to come tow me. They couldn't find the beach. So I was like stuck. And then I started thinking, well, I'll just call my brother. And I realized that he was 3 hours away. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't know if you can live somewhere where no one is close. So I'm rethinking it. I may stay, but I'm kind of leaning toward maybe doing this house and selling it and then moving on. Though that was not my initial plan. My initial plan was to make this my home. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be so wonderful. Maybe it won't matter that my brother's 3 hours away. Maybe I'll just say, oh well, okay. So you'd like to know how much does it cost to rewire a 4-bedroom house? Well, what I will tell you is typically if you're going to pay someone to do it, it's about $9 a square foot. So depending upon you say your house is 1,100, it's about 1,200 square feet. So that's 1,200 times 9. What is that, Brent? 10, 9,000, about $11,000. That's what it would cost, about $11,000. Is that what you get, Brent?
How many square feet was it?
It's like 11 or 1,200.
1,200 times 9.
Times 9.
Yeah, so 10,800.
So You know, I'm faced with the same thing myself. Excuse me. I think I'm going to just rewire the house myself, though, the more I think about it. So there you go.
Well, sometimes it's better to do things yourself and have the hardship for a few days and then save yourself a whole lot of money, because I literally did that this week. Everyone, I had a project that I had never done before, but I had a water main leak. So a leak between my water main to my house. And I had never done it before, but I had the confidence of trying to figure out myself. So I did some research, made sure I knew exactly how to do it, and I literally saved $7,000 after doing it myself versus, spending 2 days to do it. So it was pretty amazing to be able to save that much money when you're not afraid to take on a project that you haven't done before. And for anyone else out there who potentially might have that issue in the future, just know that there is going to be a very detailed tutorial on how I did it on my own house.
Brent, I think we've come to the end of the live stream. We like to stay on at least an hour, and I'm sorry that there were other questions that came up.
There are so many people and questions. I think we're gonna have to do this sooner rather than later in the future again, because there are a lot of questions. I think
I
people
always
missed
have a
that.
blast. I always have a lot of fun. Don't you, Brent?
Of course, I love it.
And I love it when Mitch comes as well. He's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm sorry that we couldn't get to everybody. We sure did try. And the folks that we did get to, I'm glad you came and asked your questions. I hope we helped you. And I guess it's time, Brent, to find out who wins the happy hour special. Who is it going to be?
Drum roll, please. So
Okay.
our winner today is Carmen Jimerson. So please, you are the winner of the happy hour special. So you will be winning the barbecue tool set as well as the searing gun. So please make sure you email me directly at brent@byotools.me, and I will make sure and get your information and get that sent out to you.
Okay, folks, I hate to say we got to go, but Brent, we got to go, buddy. Let's do this again soon, though, okay?
I would
And
love to.
all right,
And
bye,
again, so amazing to see you as always. And thanks everyone for joining us, because I always enjoy having a nice little conversation and trying to help other people out there.
So long, everybody. Bye.